Cruising with the Stars is brought to you by Speaks Volumes, your contact to the stars.
Hello there, and as always a very warm welcome to Cruising with the Stars with me, Debbie Jones. And today I've got I don't know what to describe him as actually, because he's funny, he's talented, he acts, he sings, he does all sorts of things. Steve Walls, good to have you with us today, Steve.
Thank you, Debbie, likewise. How do I live up to that reputation?
Oh, well, you can try, you can try. And I wouldn't know even what to describe you as, Steve, because you have compared so many top-class programmes on TV, on radio. You're a very, very funny man. You're a comedian. You do wedding singing, but you do, I do a bit of homework with this. You know, you don't do any one just to an average standard. You're very, very highly regarded in every single discipline. What do you consider yourself as one thing more than another in any way?
Not really. I think I love all the old-fashioned all-rounders, people like sort of Des O'Connor and Bruce Forsyth, and the modern-day ones, obviously, like the Brian Conleys. I always massively respected anybody who could sing, who could dance, who could be funny, who could host shows, and they were always the people I focused on. I think a lot of entertainers, when they start, if they want to be a comic, they'll watch the likes of Frank Skinner or Ken Dodd, depending which era you're from, and think, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I always looked at people like that and thought, how do you do so many things so well? I just generally wanted to be a bit of everything.
You just get old.
You do, yeah.
You just do it for many, many decades, and you know, you get better as you go on. What was the first thing that piqued your interest, either as a child or a teenager, to become an artiste?
I think the first thing ever, I went to Butlins as a kid. I remember going to Skegness the first time. I think it was about 1978, and I remember seeing the Gaiety Theatre. I don't know if you remember them, Debbie.
Yeah.
Used to have a Gaiety Theatre on every Butlins, and they'd always have a variety show. There would be one at 6:30 and one at 8:30.
Yes.
There'd be like a two-seating thing.
Because I always wanted to go to the later one.
Oh, yeah.
And my mum and dad had never let me. They'd say, no, we've got to get you into bed, you know. And they had these listening devices in the chalets,
Baby
didn't they?
crying in chalet 134.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
You've just... It's funny, this is the lovely thing about interviewing interesting people. They remind you of things.
Yeah.
That was right, there is a baby crying in chalet 134.
Well, it would flash up, wouldn't it? There would be a board either side of the theatre, so you could see that your child was crying and go home and see to it.
Yes.
Which, but it always fascinated me. And I remember saying to my mum and dad, do you want to go and see the show, the 6:30 show? And my mum and dad weren't really theatre goers. They weren't really interested in that at all. And I've got two brothers who were a year younger who just looked at me as if I was an alien. They had no interest in that. They just wanted to go to the amusement park and play all day. And I went to see the 6:30 show. I queued up on my own.
How old were you about?
I was about 8 or 9, which sounds as if my mum and dad didn't care, but you're on a secure holiday park, so you know, you can't go anywhere. And I queued up to watch his show, and I was just absolutely mesmerised by it. There was like a 6-7 piece band. They struck up, and then you had the showgirls come on. There was always a comic in the show. There was always a vocalist. And as I say, you had the showgirls. I think that was the big attraction, obviously, watching the girls with the feathers on, and it was fabulous.
Because they did the whole thing, didn't they?
They did.
The feathers, like
the headdresses,
Sunday
everything.
night at the London Palladium.
It was just a sort of scaled-down version of that. And I loved it so much at 6:30 that I came out and I went to queue up again for the 8:30 show. And I did that for the whole 7 days that I was at Butlins. And I just became absolutely fascinated by it. And then I used to watch sort of variety shows on TV. I was always fascinated as to how they were made, and you'd have like Seaside Special. I don't know if you remember that.
Seaside Special going down the line.
That's the one.
Special.
You don't look that old, Debbie. I didn't think you'd remember that one.
I've got a great big bulldog clip at the back of my neck. Here, that's how I do it.
Entertainers do, don't they? We have to keep it
toned, tanned, and sort of off the ground.
I'm really the same age as Brucey. I just work out a lot. But I was just fascinated by that when I was a young kid and watching the variety shows. And then I think I must have been about 8 or 9 years of age again. And my dad's work every year, they used to take the kids to the pantomime as a bit of a Christmas treat. And I went to see Cinderella at Newcastle Theatre Royal. Well, I'd never really been to a theatre on that scale. I'd been to the Gaiety, which was nice, but to go to a big theatre was absolutely... It's a Matcham Theatre in Newcastle as well. It's stunning. the girl playing Cinderella was a girl called Leah Bell, who's, funnily enough, done lots and lots of cruising herself. She's a brilliant entertainer. And the guy playing Buttons was actually David Jason from Only Fools and Horses.
No, I didn't know he did panto.
He's only ever done one panto in his life, and that was at 1979, and he was just absolutely phenomenal. And I just remember watching and thinking, I want to be Buttons. And that was it.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah.
Was he topping the bill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he'd just done a programme then called A Sharp Intake of Breath. It was just pre Only Fools and Horses. So he was quite well known for sort of being a sidekick to like Ronnie Barker. Because he was in Open All Hours with him, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, that's right, of course.
Yeah, he played Granville.
Yeah.
So I think he was just kind of making his name. And then I just saw him, and I think about a year later came obviously Only Fools, which he just went absolutely huge.
Yes, he was amazing, wasn't he?
Ironically, the thing is, Debbie, I became a massive Only Fools and Horses fan. And about 2 or 3 years ago, I did panto with John Challis, who plays Boise.
Oh, how wonderful. Where did you do that?
Sunderland Empire.
Oh,
I did
bet you love that.
Oh, for me as an Only Fools and Horses fan, and I have to say, I mean, my girlfriend Jo is here is with me today. She would tell you, he's the loveliest man you could possibly wish to meet.
Yeah.
He's such a gentleman. I did panto the year before with, you remember Paul Michael Glazer, Starsky?
Yes.
The original Starsky, and Sheila Ferguson from the 3 Degrees.
Yes.
So that was like, you know, it was good to be working with someone like him. Ironically, more of my friends and family were more excited to meet Boise than they were Paul Michael Glazer.
Yes,
it was just, and he had time for everyone. Never once, and I mean, bearing in mind, with it being Sunderland, which is only, you know, 20 minutes from my house, all my friends and family came to say, look, can we meet John Challis? Never once did he say, oh, I can't be bothered. And I mean, the guy's in his late 60s now, you know, so after a performance, he was playing Captain Hook, he was wearing a really heavy wig and a big costume.
And sweaty and
never once did he say no. He came into the dressing room, he'd wear his full get-up, and he'd come and he'd do his Boise laugh for them, which everybody absolutely loved.
Well, a lovely thing that Ken Dodd said to me once, and I think Boise sums it up. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Exactly.
And on that note, we're going to take a little break, and we'll be back chatting in just a minute or two.
Cruising with the Stars is brought to you by Speaks Volumes, your contact to the stars. Cruising with the Stars is brought to you by Speaks Volumes, your contact to the stars.
Welcome back. I'm having a chat today with a lovely guy, Steve Walls, and we've just been talking about what got Steve interested in the wonderful world of show business. And obviously David Jason was a great character who you admired, and Boise, but you actually went on to become a redcoat, didn't you?
It was actually a blue coat.
A blue coat?
That's swearing, Debbie.
Oh,
I was not a redcoat.
Heinous crime.
The only reason I say that and get offended is because Butlins didn't write back to me, but Pontins did.
Oh, right.
I did initially want to be a redcoat, yeah. When I was about 18 and a half, I sent off to be a blue coat at Pontins. And initially, I did want to get into showbiz, but I thought I was going to go there really as kind of a sports organiser or something, you know, with maybe doing the odd song if I could. But when I got there, they'd kind of thrust on my... The first thing I actually did, they had a fireworks display. The Pontins I went to was Blackpool, Squires Gate. And they said, right, you're going along to represent Pontins tonight at the fireworks display. And I said, oh, brilliant. So there was me and another blue coat. We kind of had our gear on, we tottled off. And when I got there, there was a big stage, and there must have been about 60,000 people right by Blackpool Tower. So we got there and went, hi, we're from Pontins there. What would you like us to do? And he went, there you go, mate, there's the mic, on you go. And I was only like 18 and a half, and I went, what do you want me to do? And he went, just keep them entertained for half an hour.
No!
And somehow, by the skin of me pants, I did, yeah, I managed to. But initially, it was like, oh, wow, this is absolutely phenomenal.
So, did you enjoy it? When you came off stage, did you have the buzz?
Oh, totally. I think the adrenaline kind of keeps you going, doesn't it? It's like yourself, Debbie. You've obviously been in live situations where you'll have someone saying in your ear, Phil, for 10 minutes.
Yes.
And you'll come off and you'll go, how did I actually do that? You know, the feet are doing that under the water.
Oh,
but
totally.
very serene.
Just smiling.
And that's what it was. And it's strange. I've done that a couple of times. Like yourself, I did a couple of bits of presenting, which I presume you're going to move on to in a second. But I remember them counting me down the first time in my ear, and I'd never used talkback before. And they said, right, coming to you in 10, 9, 8, and that 10 seconds was the longest of my life. And at about 6 seconds, I'm looking for the escape route, thinking, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I remember doing an opening link, and I watched it back. And I was thinking, I don't want to watch this. This is going to be absolutely horrendous. And I just had a big smile on my face, and I looked as if I was sitting talking to a friend.
It's great.
And it's weird because inside, obviously, Absolutely terrifying.
Hounding.
Yeah,
Well,
terrifying.
I always say people like thee and me, we have a PhD, a doctorate in you know what, because we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. So how did you go from being a blue coat into becoming a presenter? Because you've done you've presented on Sky, Avago.
Yeah.
Tell us some of the ones that you've done.
I did. Well, obviously, the quiz thing became quite big about 5 or 6 years ago. I did Puzzle Time was the first one I did, and then I did Cash Quiz. And the big one, the same company did a thing called Avago Balls, which was a bingo channel, which basically you had to sort of, as you say, you know what, for 6 hours. It was a 6-hour show.
Oh.
And all you had was a bingo machine, so you just had to fill in the rest of the time and pray for texts, something you could talk about. You'd be given like a daily sort of sheet of what's in the news that day and whose birthday it was, which would kind of give you a couple of pointers as to what to talk about, but the rest of it was just purely winging it.
And don't you find, because I've done this with radio, you're nothing a lot of the time without the audience, without your viewers or your listeners.
Yeah.
You're nothing. And they have some of the funniest stories to tell you, don't they?
Completely. And the thing is, as you know, because you've done it yourself, you've been a comedian and stuff, when you're feeding off a live audience, it just seems to come to you. When you're talking into a camera, or if you're doing radio, you're talking into a microphone, you're waiting for a response which doesn't come.
No.
So you're thinking, are people laughing at that? Should I move straight on? Should I allow a gap for a laugh or something?
Yeah.
So getting used to that's quite difficult at first.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do now, Steve. We're going to take a look at you in action. So we're going to take a quick look at exactly why Steve is one of the most sought-after entertainers on our cruise ships today.
I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me. So deep in my heart that you're really a part of me. I've got you under my skin. I touch you, you just tremble inside. 'Cause I know how much you want me, that you can't hide. Can I just have one more moon dance with you, my love? Can I just make some more romance with you, my love? And I feel just like I'm living someone else's life. It's like I just stepped outside when everything was going right. And I know just why you could not come along with me, 'cause this was not your dream, but you always believed in me. I'm a guy who must be free, and all at once I lost my breath, and all at once was scared to death, and all at once I owned the open sky. Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. I got a feeling that something ain't right. I'm so scared in case I fall off my chair, and I'm wondering how I'll get down the stairs. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Just a gigolo, and everywhere I go, people know the part I'm playing. I'm paid for every dance, I'm selling each romance. Ooh, what are they saying? There will come a day when youth will pass away. What will it say about me? 'Cause when the end comes, I'm known I was just a gigolo.
There we have him, Steve Walls, strutting his stuff like a funky thing. It was marvellous. That was absolutely brilliant. So what eventually made you leave Pontins?
Well, I remember being at Pontins and I thought I'd love to be an entertainer now, a full-time entertainer. And the only real obvious step from there is to start doing, like most entertainers, the working men's clubs, which I started doing in the northeast of England and kind of progressed to coming to the northwest and then down to the Midlands. And I did that for around about 3 or 4 years, which, as you know, is a very, very good breeding ground.
Oh, yes.
You have to be good.
Well, you started in what I would consider to be the most difficult area, which is the North East.
Yeah.
The working men's clubs there.
It is, yeah. Well, a lot of clubs still up there now. Not so much now, sadly, but a lot of clubs had entertainment 5, 6, 7 nights a week. So,
Oh, yes.
you know, it was a bit like fold your arms, come on and make us laugh, entertain us.
Yeah.
So you had to either be very, very good, very, very in the face, or you didn't survive.
And have you got any mental scars from any particular bookings?
One or two, yeah. I remember once doing a club in Middlesbrough. What a name dropper I am.
Yeah.
And I remember going on and thinking, I'm going to bring the West End to Middlesbrough, which a Christmas Eve in 1990, Middlesbrough wasn't ready for the West End.
No, they just want you to bring them drink.
They did.
Yes.
Drinking Simply the Best 10 times by Tina Turner, which obviously I didn't do.
That's it.
And I just remember finishing the garment, come on, put your hands together. And of course, there was very, very little response. He went, come on, he's not that bad. It doesn't do much for the confidence, but you learn very, very quickly. And that, I'm not being derogatory about working men's clubs, because obviously they like what they like.
Yeah.
And I've learned now, you don't educate people, you entertain them.
That's
you give
right.
them exactly what they want.
Absolutely. And not only that, the working men's clubs, because, I mean, gosh, decades ago I used to do them. And you've got to respect and do what they want to hear. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
You don't, I mean, if I was in certain clubs, sort of nice nightclubby places, I would drop an aria in, a well-known one.
Yeah.
That, you know, something equivalent to the Nessun Dorma,
Yeah.
only for women. But if you try to do that and be too clever too often,
Yeah.
you fail.
Well, if you did that on a ship or in a theatre, it will blow the audience
Oh,
away.
yeah.
But when you do it, as you say, in a club, they'll just look at you blankly, and then you'll do You Don't Have to Say You Love Me by Dusty Springfield. It'll get a standing ovation.
Well, the thing is, though, as well, you're right, Steve, because those clubs actually had a very high standard of
Oh, yeah.
entertainment,
Yeah.
very many nights a week. So they were actually quite blasé about
totally.
the people that
yeah,
they got.
They were. You had to be very, very different to stand out. And not just that, as you know, Debbie, a lot of people from the clubs went on to do big things. I mean, at the time I was starting, probably a little bit before me, you had the Brian Conleys and
Oh,
you know,
yes.
the Bobby Davros and the Bradley Walshes, who were still sort of doing the circuit, you know.
Yeah, that's right. So, how did you get into the TV side of things?
It's a bit funny, really. I've done panto for about the last 16 years. I eventually did do what I wanted to do and follow David Jason.
Yeah.
And one day I was doing a panto at Blackpool Grand Theatre. I was playing Wishy Washy in Aladdin, and there was a TV producer in who saw me work, and he said, have you ever thought about TV presenting, which of course I always had wanted to. He said, well, why don't we give you some TV experience first? Would you like to do some warm-up work at Granada TV? Which of course I went, yeah. He said, how do you fancy working with Cat Deely for 4 months?
Go away.
Yes, please. How much do I have to pay you?
Yeah.
Which was fantastic. I did Stars in the Rise Kids, and the idea was to kind of screen test me for presenting.
Yes.
And it just kind of gave me the bug from there, really. Working in front of a live studio audience was just fab. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. Again, for the warm-up man, it's not the easiest thing in the world. And
No.
we talked about a guy before who I have the utmost respect for, a guy called Ted Robbins, who was brilliant. And he's basically known as the warm-up man in the business.
Oh, he used to warm up for Bob Monkhouse. And he's a
Guys,
lovely guy as well.
Brilliant, a brilliant
Lovely
actor,
man.
a great radio presenter. Again, Ted's a great all-rounder. And I went to watch him do Stars in the Rise before I did it, and I just watched and I thought, how do you emulate that? How do you, you know? And
Yeah.
you could tell the crew loved him. You know, obviously the presenters loved him. He just had a lovely affinity with people. And luckily, I think a lot of people say that I can have a little bit of warmth about me as well. So I kind of slotted into it quite well.
Yes. Oh, yes. You're lovely. You feel at
Thank
home.
you.
You feel at home with you, and you feel non-threatened by you, which is very, very nice indeed. What do you think of the, in inverted commas, alternative comedians? Is that your cup of tea, or do you prefer the kinder comedy?
There are some that I do quite like. I'm caught between a rock and a hard place with that, Debbie, really, because there are certain alternative comics I do find funny. I've been to a comedy club a few times with my girlfriend, and there are a few which they go on in an old pair of jeans and a tatty pair of trainers, and I don't know if it's maybe old-fashioned to some people. I still like to go on in quite a nice suit and dress quite smart.
I agree.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the alternative side kind of looks at comics of yesteryear with the big bow tie on and stuff, you know, they kind of look down on that a bit. But I still think there can be a happy medium where a typical example of that's John Bishop. He's a lovely storyteller.
You have a look of John
I get
Bishop.
that all the time.
You
I do
really
get
have
that
got a look
all the
of John
time,
Bishop,
yeah. I saw John in Panto, believe it or not, he did the Salford Lowry. about 4 years ago with Chesney Hawkes and Darren Day.
The one and only.
The one and only.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, I was doing panto at the Opera House in Manchester at the same time, and we couldn't go on because there'd been a power cut, so we went to watch their panto. And I remember thinking, he was playing Captain Cuttles, I think it was. I thought, this guy's brilliant. He's very dry, very, very droll, and he was superb. And I just remember thinking, I hope you do something one day. And of course, he's just gone absolutely.
And yet I say you look like him, and yet everyone always thinks he looks like Stan Borden.
I've had that as well.
Yeah,
I've had that as well. For years and years, I had Joe Mangle of Neighbours, a young Stan Bowman, Peter Noon from Herman's Hermits. There's no end of people who I'm supposed to look like.
Oh, well, it's great, because they're all famous now, so that's a good thing.
All except me.
Oh, no, I'd say not. Hey, you're on Cruising with the Stars.
Hey.
Doesn't come much better than this, honest. Right, we will be back with you in just a minute. Keep it here.
Cruising with the Stars is brought to you by Speaks Volumes, your contact to the stars. Cruising with the Stars is brought to you by Speaks Volumes, your contact to the stars.
Hi there, welcome back to Cruising with the Stars, and today I've got a lovely guy on, and he's done it all, and he now, in addition to all his other work, he can be found on cruise ships, a cruise ship near you. It is Steve Walls. Steve, your girlfriend, the lovely Jo, is sitting over here. Pretty, far too good for you if you don't mind me saying.
Thank you.
It was a gorgeous girl.
She's lovely.
And I always like to know the romance beside things, you know, how you get to meet each other. Did you two meet each other through showbiz?
We did, yeah. It was a bit of a funny story because you have a guy working here called John Cooper.
Oh,
John
cruising, of course.
Yes.
Cruising with the Liverpool Cruise Club with John Cooper.
That's right. John's
a lovely,
fantastic guy. I did Southport Theatre about, I think it was about 6-7 years ago, and I played Wishy Washy in Aladdin. And there was a bit of an accident at the curtain call. As the curtain came in, and then it goes back up at the end for us all to take the bow, they have like pyros going off, like a firework.
Like fireworks.
That's right. Well, it jumped out of its casing and it spun round, and it burnt a couple of the cast. And actually, poor John took the brunt of it. His costume set on fire. He was the Chinese policeman, and his costume we kind of had to put him out. The curtain came down. I had to run around the front. All the kids were screaming. I had to say, "Don't worry, nobody was hurt. Everyone's okay." But of course, John was quite badly hurt. Ooh. The only other person that was hurt really was the genie, a girl called Vicky. So Vicky couldn't do that night. So they had to draft in somebody else. So they drafted in Vicky's best friend, who was also a dancer, and she'd been doing panto herself down in Hastings, and that was Joanne. So that's how we got together.
Oh, how romantic! How lovely!
And she's a Scouser.
Yes, she's from our glorious area,
She is.
and it was just.
It was literally, yeah. We started going out. I think it was the second night or something, and that was it.
How nice! Just shout yes or no, Jo. Did you fancy him right away?
Of course.
Ah, how lovely.
She has to say that.
Oh, she does, she does. So, what was your next step along the way of your career then? You've done, you started doing some TV.
Yeah, I started doing some sort of TV presenting. It's funny, us entertainers, especially like you say, if you've got the sort of will and the drive to do other things, people will say, "Can you do this?" And you'll go, "Yeah, of course I can," even if you never have.
Never say no.
And you'll kind of run and just jump in the deep end without having water wings on. You don't kind of care. And I'd been really working as a singer who told a few gags in between, just talking to the audience. And I got a call saying, "Are you a comic?" And I went, "Yeah." And they said, "Do you want to do a summer season in Bridlington?" I said, "Yeah, no problem at all." So you need 2 half-hour spots.
Oh.
I went, yeah, no problem.
You're brave.
Oh, well, I then had about 2 weeks to get a comedy act together, which in a theatre, was obviously quite tough, but I managed to do it. I managed to survive it. And again, it was just like you were saying, you get a bit of a kick from things. And I just loved hearing the laughter. It was fantastic.
Where did you get your material from?
Oh, well, quite a lot I'd known, that I'd been doing in between singing.
Yeah.
I'd be lying, and every comic lies when they say they totally write their own stuff. One of the reasons I do, you asked me about alternative comics like John Bishop and stuff, one of the reasons I do admire them is they do write all their own stuff from scratch, so you have to take your hat off to them for that. But obviously when you're first starting off, you kind of beg, borrow, you hear something, you think, "Oh, that's quite funny, I could use that there," put it with other gags you remember.
And you change it a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, one of my sort of guys I look up to now as a comic is a guy called John Martin, who does a lot of ships.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Great comic. And John has got a brilliant comedy mind. And like John, I tend to have sort of pigeonholes where you'll hear a joke and you'll think, well, I can't use that now, but I'll stash that away if ever someone says I'm a plumber or I do this or I do that. And it's kind of being able to just pull on them whenever you can. And I've got a very, very good memory. I'm lucky I remember names and I remember jokes and things like that. So I can kind of be told a joke. I might think of it again for 2 or 3 years, but a situation will come up and I can kind of pluck it from somewhere. So
I think you're amazing there, because I sort of do after dinner speaking and that sort of thing, and I do give, you know, I'll talk about funny things that have happened, but like most people, they go, have you heard that joke? Oh, and you can't remember it.
I'm not funny, I've just got a great memory.
Well, I don't believe that. Well, listen, we're going to take a little look at you now, doing what you do best. So here he is, Steve Walls. We'll be back after this. Keep it here. You're watching Cruising with the Stars.
You can't stop the river as it rushes to the sea. You can try to stop the hands of time, but you know it just won't be. And if you try to stop the dancing, you know they never will catch me. 'Cause the world keeps spinning around and around. My heart can't stop beating around. I was lost of it with the drums and I found my way. You can't stop the beat. It's all well began. I won't run out of shimmy, shimmy, shake up the neck. So I'm gonna shake, shimmy, it's the best that I can today. You can't stop the motion of the ocean or the sun in the sky. You can wander if you wanna, but I never depart. And if you try to hold me down, I'm gonna spin in your heart and say, you can't stop the beat. You can't stop the beat.
Hi again! Hi, Cinders. What are you laughing at?
Buttons! I'm not laughing, I'm crying.
Oh, don't cry, Princess. Nothing's as bad as that.
Oh, Buttons, it is as bad as that. My stepsisters, they made me tear up my invitation to the ball.
Do you know something? I'd love to give those two a wedgie. Look, you can always take that bit and go for 10 minutes. Oh, come on, Princess. It's not that bad. We can put it back together. I'm really good at jigsaws, me. I did one once. It had 12 pieces, and it took me 3 months, which is good. On the box, it said 3 to 5 years.
Where's Mum and Dad? Where are you? Where's Mum and Dad? Give me a wave. Hello over there. What's your dad called?
Michael.
Michael. And do you think Michael would love to come up here and do this with us?
Yeah.
I can lip read Michael, and that was very hurtful.
My poor granddad, he bought a box of After 8 minutes and he died at 7:30.
They're very posh and Stephen and John, George. Yeah. They get out of the bath to have a wee. Do you get out of the bath to have a wee? George! You should be posh like us in Newcastle. We wee into a sponge and wring it out later on.
I went into Manchester and I bought a pair of shoes, and when I got them home I noticed one had a zip and one had a lace. When I looked on the box it said Taiwan.
Hello? You're small, did you fall off a key ring?
My special guest there for today, Steve Walls. Steve, have you done commercials? Because your face always looked, as soon as you walked in, your face looked familiar, your voice sounded familiar.
Yeah, I have. I've done quite a few where I've kind of been in vision. Quite often, because people say I've got a bit of a smile, I'm always the salesman at the end. So I'm standing there chatting with people, and I've got a big grin on my face.
Right.
And then it'll cut to me at the end. It'll be some sort of carpet company or something, and I'm just sitting, big grin on my face. So I do that. I do a lot of voiceovers, and again, it's the way things just kind of go. I did a couple of adverts where I was actually doing. I think I was doing a corporate video, and the guy who did the corporate video, we got on well. Like, you know, we're just having a chat like we are. And he said, have you ever thought about doing voiceovers? And I said, well, it's not something I've really done. He said, well, why don't you come to the studio and we'll give it a try? Yeah. And we did. And luckily for me, his production company do most of the North East ones now. So I've kind of done stuff for the NHS and sort of big sofa specialists. And
how super. And are they always looking for a North East accent?
Yeah, well, quite. I mean, obviously you can hear a North East accent now. I can soften it even more if I need to. But because most of the things I do are in the North East, they kind of want the North East twang anyway, yeah.
So what's your absolute favourite ideal booking?
For me, I love what I do now because I do that many things. I've got a very, very short attention span, so if I compared every night, if I was a singer every night, if I was a comic every night, I'd probably get bored. For me, my ideal job would be presenting something like Family Fortunes. I'd love to have done something like that.
Oh, you'd be good at that.
Something which is people-based, where I can have a chat with people and have a laugh and, you know...
Yeah, you can have a giggle.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of radio as well.
I have. I've never actually had my own radio show as such, but I do get asked quite a lot to guest on radio shows, particularly BBC Newcastle. They use me for their sort of live events now and again, but they'll say, like, if it's Comic Relief Day, they'll say we're having a sponsored gagathon.
Yes.
So people will ring in with a subject, can you come up with a joke on it? And everybody will donate £10 for every joke you come up with.
Yeah.
So, and I was there.
That's a great idea, isn't it?
It was, but coming up with a subject on everything, give me a gag about chrysanthemums or something like that.
Oh.
You know, so yeah, I did that for like an hour, and I managed again to blag it. You can kind of just change it slightly to something else.
I was going to say, sometimes you have to go round it.
Round the houses.
Right,
and the thing is, as you say, if you can baffle them with science, they tend to not know it wasn't really about chrysanthemums, but it sounded like it was.
No, it was about dahlias. That's what it was. That's what it was. So what was your first introduction into cruising?
My first cruise, I was actually a production vocalist in 1994.
So, yes, of course, I forgot, because you sing to a really excellent standard as well.
Yeah.
So how did you get that one?
I was working in Blackpool. I did a thing called the Flagship Show Bar for a producer at the time who was based in Blackpool. And he said, would you be interested in going on a ship for 7 months? Well, of course, when you're 23, 24 and you hear that, fantastic. Yes. So we had to rehearse for about 3 or 4 weeks. And now I fly on and off as a guest cabaret, which is a week or 2 weeks at a time, which is brilliant because it fits in with what I do. But as production singers, you're on for 7 months because they can't afford to fly people in and out. Once you learn the show, you learn the show. The guests change, you don't.
Yeah, and what sort of numbers did you do?
I did a bit of everything, actually. We covered sort of pop stuff to... We tried to do a little bit for every country as well, so I had to learn a song in German and a song in Italian and a song in Spanish. The funniest thing ever, Debbie, was I had to learn a song in Spanish. And do you remember Begin the Begin? Yes. By Julio Iglesias. I remember learning it, but I learned it kind of phonetically. Yeah. And to my mind, I could have been Julio Iglesias, the way I sang it. And I'll never forget a woman coming up, and she says, I enjoyed your performance. She said, that song you sung, Begin the Begin, she says, what language was it in? And I said, Spanish. She said, I'm Spanish. It wasn't.
Well, funnily enough, when you said Begin the Begin, I thought, I've never heard anyone say that in Newcastle. Geordie Spanish, yes.
Yeah, so I must have, in my defence, Your Honour, I think I was taught it wrong. That's what it was.
Oh, listen to you. So how did you enjoy your time on the cruise ship?
Oh, I loved it. Absolutely fantastic. That was a great learning curve because obviously you learn to dance. I'm not a particularly natural dancer. For all I can turn my hand to most things. I can. Jo's a dance teacher, my girlfriend, so she'll probably laugh when I say I can dance. Yeah. But it kind of taught me to be sort of part of a disciplined production where you can't do your own thing and you do have to do the same as everyone else. It maybe took me a little bit longer to learn the steps than everybody else, but when I did know them, I sold it.
You did them really well, yes. I was going to say, it's selling it.
That's
the attitude, isn't it, really?
I might not have been technically correct, but I dazzled them, hopefully.
And what about the side, the bits where you have to actually dance or entertain the people that are on board? Did you get involved in that side of things?
To be honest with you, no, because we weren't expected to do that. The dancers in the show were kind of expected to do sort of day duties and stuff like that. But I actually enjoyed it. From my days of being a blue coat, I loved it anyway. So I was quite happy just going sitting with people having a chat. And if somebody wanted to get up and do a waltz, I might be treading all over her feet for 10 minutes, but at least I was willing to have a go and, you know, I'm a people person.
And you did it with a smile.
A big smile,
I tell you what, you could tread on my feet with that smile. Right, we're taking a little break and we'll be back with you in just 2 minutes.
Cruising with the Stars is brought to you by Speaks Volumes, your contact to the stars. Cruising with the Stars is brought to you by Speaks Volumes, your contact to the stars.
Welcome back to Cruising with the Stars. Now, today's guest, Steve Walls, he's a comedian. He sings. Actually, you sing in weddings and things, don't you?
I do, yeah, quite often. It's a big thing at the moment. Brides kind of like someone to sing during the wedding breakfast.
Yeah.
And the massive thing at the moment is still swing and Rat Pack and Bublé. Yeah. So I do quite a lot of weddings.
So have you got your own band?
I work with a band as well as solo because obviously some brides can't afford a big band to go with it as well. You know, they prefer something a little bit more...
compact with backing tracks and things.
Yeah, and hopefully my backing tracks sound nice anyway. It's lovely to sing with a band, you know,
Yes.
if you can. But yeah, I do lots of weddings now, and it's lovely to do.
Well, is there no end to this man's talent? Because you've done loads of telework as well.
I have, yeah, I've done a few bits and pieces. Years and years ago, it was about 3 or 4 years after I did my Ponting stint, and I started doing the clubs. Obviously, to get your equity card, you have to do a certain standard of work, which I then got, and then I got put forward for certain things. And I remember doing Biker Grove when I was about, I think I was about 21, 22. And I actually remember doing a scene with Ant and Dec. Ant and Dec were on the bus at the time.
Oh, right.
And I had a chat with them on the extras bus, so we were just sitting having a cup of tea and a chat. And I remember just thinking there were two great lads who just bounced off each other. And
So they were together then, even?
they were best mates. You could tell they were very, very good mates, and they got on really, really well, yeah. So that was when I was about, I think I was about 21, 22. And then ironically, I ended up doing it years later as a character actor. But in between that, I did anything that was filmed in the northeast. It's probably like Merseyside.
Yes.
If you're from Merseyside, you do Brookside, you do Hollyoaks.
It's very colloquial. You become a standard extra.
You do.
Yes,
So
yeah.
my first thing was with Jimmy Neal. I played a satellite repairman. And when I look at it now, my hair was your colour and about the same length, and you know, which it looks lovely on you, but it didn't on me. It looked like a really bad mullet. I looked like Craig McLachlan from Neighbours or something. I can't actually bear it, but I'm going up a satellite dish and repairing it.
Well, he's just completely blown it by saying it's like a really bad mullet.
Mine was, yours isn't. Yours is lovely.
Hey, listen, we're going to do even worse for you now. We're going to show you 10 years ago.
Oh, no.
Here's a little clip on Biker Grove.
Before we get started, do you have your £80?
£80? For what?
That's the fee for taking these photographs. Weren't you told?
No one said a word about it.
Typical. I hope it's not a problem, but that's the usual fee for putting a portfolio together.
£80? I don't have that kind of money on me.
How much do you have?
About 60.
That'll do. I'll take that.
But I was going to buy a new coat. I've been saving for ages.
What do you want more? A new coat or your modelling career? You won't regret it. Good girl. When you make it big, you can pay me the rest.
Do you want me to smile or frown or what?
You're doing just fine.
How about I turn to the side and turn my head towards you like this?
Yeah, that's great. Well done. Now smile.
So there we have our special guest for today, Steve Walls, playing a rather greasy-looking photographer.
He wasn't a nice character
He
at all,
wasn't,
Debbie.
was he?
No, he wasn't. He basically got some of the girls to go there and have a portfolio, but there was no portfolio. He just ripped them off.
Oh, did you draw on personal experience from this?
Not like that. What should this smile? No, but I did actually get pointed out a couple of times. Oh, you took Stella's money and you didn't give her any.
Yeah. Do
any
people ever
photographs.
take it seriously? Did
Oh,
you ever
yeah.
get anyone?
Yeah, well, I often wonder what it's like for soap stars, you know, if they've like murdered someone on Coronation Street, you know.
Yes.
Because all I did was take a young girl's money for her photographs, and have people going, "You were horrible." You know, you kind of go.
And they believe it, don't
Yeah, they do.
I can't believe the fact they believe it.
Well, Biker Grove as well, because Biker Grove and Grange Hill really, as people were growing up in the last 20 years, were the two kids'
yes.
programmes everybody watched, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And did you end up working with Ant and Dec when they were grown up?
I did, yeah. I've done a couple of events with the lads, and they're absolutely fantastic. You couldn't wish to meet two nicer guys, so grounded and down to earth. And I host the Christmas light switch on every year in Newcastle in the main street. So I've been with like the Hairy Bikers and Alan Shearer, Sir Bobby Robson, God rest his soul, it was lovely. And Ant and Dec did it one year. And I remember saying to the guys, "Can we get you anything?" And he said, "Is it okay if me granny comes through to watch?" And I thought, a big star like that, and that was all he asked. He didn't want no big demands. He was just fantastic.
They are so nice, aren't
Brilliant.
they? Very nice.
Tiny.
Yes, I know. I actually was in their company once, and I was towering over the two of them. And I'm not that tall, but I have big heels, so it's one of those things. You've done stuff to do with the X Factor as well, haven't you? What have you done there?
Yeah, for the last sort of 2 or 3 years, there's a couple of venues in the northeast, one called Hardwick Hall and one called Ramside Hall, and they promote their own sort of shows, so they'll bring up an X Factor person. So I must have done 30 or 40 over the last sort of 2 years, which are brilliant. I go on and I sing Swing and Rat Pack during dinner. I do a couple of games, get everybody sort of G'd up.
Yeah.
Quite often, I then introduce the X Factor person who'll do a spot, and then afterwards I do a bit of a Q&A with them if they're happy to do that.
And you enjoy it?
Oh, I loved it. It's fantastic. It's great as well because quite often I think reality shows are kind of sort of... People have a go at them for the sort of lack of talent, which I do understand. for a lot of entertainers like myself and, you know, people who've been through it, John Martins and the Ted Robbins who've done it for years and years, it's a bit of a fast track without doing the spade work to get there. But occasionally you do watch people and you think, wow, you are brilliant. I mean,
Yes.
I remember working with Ollie Murs last Christmas, and Ollie was great, a brilliant voice, a brilliant entertainer. Likewise, Joe McElderry, he was superb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, didn't Joe win some reality pop star to
Opera star? He did. Well, I was working with him the night before he did that, before he did the final.
Right.
So he was working with me the night before, and he was singing sort of really funky pop tunes with his dancers.
Yes.
And then the next night he's singing an opera song.
Was it Nessun Dorma?
I think he won with Nessun Dorma, yeah,
Yeah.
which was awesome. Just shows he is a very versatile lad, and he, you know, he's great.
He's
yeah.
very good. What do you think of the sort of plethora of reality shows and you know, that's on TV at the moment? Are they good for the business or bad for the business?
I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword, really. It's good in some ways because it does give young people... I mean, you get people like Will Young and obviously Joe and Ollie who go on to do other things. Stacey Solomon's started presenting now. I do feel sorry a bit for the kids who are kind of thrust into the limelight. They have the 10 minutes and then they're kind of cast aside a little bit. Because there's not really any way back for them. It's quite difficult. One of the guys I have the utmost respect for, and I know it sounds crazy, is Chico.
Oh, yes.
I've worked with Chico now about 7 or 8 times. Ramside and Hardwick have ladies' days, and they quite often bring him in because he does what it says on the tin. The shirt's open, he pours the water over himself, and he sings La Vida Loca, Chico time. But he's kind of carved a career out of what he's known for.
Yes.
And like we've been talking about, he doesn't mind making a fool of himself.
Yes.
You know, and the people love him for it. And as soon as the event finishes, he'll stand there for 5 hours, having photographs, kissing the girls, doing autographs. It's not a problem to him. And because of that, he gets booked back year on year. And no doubt he earns good money for doing these events.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of prolonged his career. And every now and again, Chico will kind of crop up on a show from nowhere, and you go, so he's kind of kept it going. So someone like him who has the intelligence, he realises it might only have a certain shelf life, but he's keeping it going as much as he can.
And it's also a maturity. It's no use playing being a prima donna.
Of course. Well, Chico's 40 now. I think he's 40, 41.
Yeah.
And again, he obviously realises he was given a great opportunity at a great time, and he's getting all he can from it, so fair play to him. Likewise, 2 lovely guys I did a ladies' day with was Stavros Flatley.
Oh, wow, Stavros.
They were fab.
Oh.
And I remember saying to the guy, the dad, I was just sitting talking to him, I said, have you enjoyed it? And he went, what's not to enjoy? He said, I get paid first-class flights, I get well paid to go on and dance for 5 minutes, and then people want my autograph. And the lovely thing is, he understands that, and he appreciates that, you know, which is great.
Well, it's been a lovely, lovely day today. I've had a great chat with this lovely gentleman, Steve Walls.
Likewise, Debbie.
And it's been great because you've got such an infectious smile.
Thank you.
That my cheeks are aching smiling back.
Well, likewise, because I've done presenting and I realise you make a very, very difficult job. That's why I respect the likes of Des O'Connor. You make it look very, very easy. It's been a pleasure to chat with you.
Well, you're very kind indeed. All the best to you, and let's hope that we'll see you in here again to tell us about your next exciting episode of your very, very exciting life.
I'd love to.
Thanks very much indeed,
Thank you, Debbie.
Steve Walls. And from me, Debbie Jones, do take care. I'll be back with you very soon. And until then, keep it here, the Holiday and Cruise Channel. Bye now.
Cruising with the Stars is brought to you by Speaks Volumes, your contact to the stars.